Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Victor, and we are back for another episode of Victor Talks. We're going to talk about. Actually, today I'm going to talk about Dragon Ball Super, and that's going to lead into a discussion of anime in general, which then will lead into a discussion of just stories and story outlines and things I like and don't like in storytelling. I have improved the lighting. I know the lighting was really bad last time. Last time was a very impromptu video. I knew I wanted to get one out really fast. But this time we have a little more planning ahead of us, and hopefully it looks a lot better, and hopefully you all enjoy it. So with the upcoming episode of Dragon Ball Super, I'm really excited. Goku is going to be training with Krillin apparently, and that's something we haven't seen since the original Dragon Ball, since they trained together with Master Roshi on Turtle Island, of course, or whatever the fuck Master Roshi's island is actually called, Turtle Hermit Island, something like that. And I'm really hyped about that. It was really sad for me watching Dragon Ball Z, even as a pretty big fan in my teenage years, watching Krillin and Yamcha and Chen Shinhan and Chaozu and Roshi and Yajirobe and all these characters fade into obscurity. Even Piccolo kind of starts to fade into irrelevance as really Goku, Vegeta, Gohan. Yeah, Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan just raise in power and they get higher and higher and higher. And the people on the lower end of the totem pole stop being those older ones. They start being characters like Piccolo, like Goten and Trunks. And none of them, none of the old characters are important anymore. So to see that Goku's going to be training with Krillin again, it's just like, it hit me in my heart. I just can't wait for this new episode. And I wanted to talk about how excited I am to see that, but that then belies an underlying issue. And the underlying issue is that Dragon Ball Super really kind of sucks, doesn't it? Like, it's just really fucking bad. And then I stopped and think, and I'm like, Dragon Ball Z really kind of sucks, doesn't it? It's just really fucking bad. And I watched Dragon Ball Super because of my nostalgia for Dragon Ball Z. Because, it came out and I was a teenager and I was like, this is the best thing in the freaking universe, people. Oh my god, this is so great. These people are crazy strong. They're blowing up planets. They're fighting each other. Ba 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 ba. And all the aspects of how bad it actually is just blew over my head. I mean, clearly Akira Toriyama just didn't remember half the shit he wrote. The powers, the characters were very inconsistent. If you hear me talk about Marvel and DC comics every these days, you'll know one of the most important things to me is consistency with characters. And those comics are notoriously bad with the consistency and character strengths. And they're like masterpieces of consistency compared to Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super and Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball just it's all over the place. It makes no sense. And you go on to places, communities I generally love, like Our Who Would Win, and Dragon Ball just becomes this poison IP to talk about, even though it's so popular, but it's poison, because people will make these claims, and it's like, Episode A, your claim is true, Episode B, your claim is destroyed. What do you do? What do you believe? Which one's real? Which one isn't? Who knows? Akira Toriyama is just like, today this happens. Yesterday that happened, but today this happens, right? There's no consistency to it. And so it led me to think about anime because it's an interesting thing. When I was young, when I was in high school and middle school, I watched a lot of anime. As I think I'm 34, I think a lot of people my age or similar age to me did the same thing. It started to really blow up in those years. And I recall I would go every paycheck. I was in my teenager years. I was working jobs and I had no bills for my income, so I could spend my income on whatever I wanted to do. Every paycheck I'd go. At the time, it was I keep wanting to say Spencer because the store reminds me of Spencer's, but it was a store that doesn't exist anymore, and I can't remember what it was called. But it was like a video store. And they sold videos, VHSs, and then later DVDs when DVDs came out. Because I'm going so far back to say it was all VHS I started buying anime. And it kills me that I can't remember the name of the store. I can't remember it. But I used to go every paycheck. I'd buy anime. And I'd buy all types of anime, and I couldn't care less what I was buying. it was anime. It was going to be amazing. I love anime. Everything is great. And I looked back, and what happened was by the time I started hitting, by the time I got like to college, I was so done with buying anime. I had seen so much anime, and I owned so much anime, and like 90% of it, including the stuff I owned that I bought, was just shit. It was bad. I didn't want it. I didn't want to watch it. It was, oh, why did I waste my money on all this garbage? Money I could have spent on great things, spent on nonsense. So I then didn't watch anime for years and years on end. I said, fuck anime, I won't watch it. I have a friend who's about 6 years younger than I haven't spoken to him much in a long time. His name is Jason, and he's really big into all things animation. And when I first met him, it was really kind of, I'm big into all things Japanese culture, and he was, at least from what I can see, I'm not going to claim I know the guy inside and out, who knows anyone inside and out, but it seemed like Japanese culture was starting to branch into other cultures, and the little bit I talked to him in recent years, it seems like Japanese animation started branching into other animation, and I kind of feel bad because I met him right at the time where like, I was in that anime is fucking shit phase, and he's wanting to get people together and watch anime and talk about anime, and I'd just be like, fuck all this shit, and be like, this is stupid, this is why this is stupid, I hate all this is dumb, and the poor guy. But regardless, in more recent years, I started to realize that hey, anime is like anything else. It's like American TV, it's like video games, it's like music, Yeah, it's probably 70-80% of it's shit. But then there's some really good stuff there, and the secret is just catching the good stuff and watching the good stuff and avoiding the stuff that's shit. And I started to feel like, well, let me just be more honest with what I enjoy and what I don't like, and keep an eye open for things that set off red flags in my head, and maybe I'll enjoy anime again. And it was a slow start. Like a few years ago, I first discovered Lucky Star and Rosen Maiden and The Adventures of Haruhi Suzumiya. I love those shows, but I was like the only anime I'd watched in like 6 years or some shit like that, and I didn't watch any more anime after that for years after. But last year, I discovered this YouTuber called Digibro, and I probably don't need to talk about Digibro because he has a pretty big YouTube channel and a pretty decent sized following, but what caught on to me was that he had, there were two videos I saw at first. And the first one isn't even a normal video for his. It was a video where he was copying, he says at the end, he was copying the style from some guy called My Japanese Animes, who is a pretty funny guy, but he doesn't have a lot of anime, or a lot of videos on YouTube. But he was talking this shit about how he watched some show back in the day called, Gundam, but it was showing footage of Evangelion, and he was going very tongue-in-cheek, and it was clear that he was going tongue-in-cheek with something he loved, which is something I identify with. I do often make fun of things that I love, or things that are important to me, or I think that humor is very important to the heavy things in our lives, And then I watched another video, and the other video was, it was something along the lines of his comment or his response to people who say, why can't you just turn off your brain and enjoy it? And this hit me deep because even while I wasn't watching anime, I was getting back into American comic books. I was, of course, I've always been really big into movies and books, and I get that a lot because I'll go to my personal Facebook page and I will slam something that's popular. Or I will take something that's popular and say, I enjoyed this, but these 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever things could be better. And people do not take well of this. People are like, you fucking either love everything or you goddamn hate it. So if you're talking noise about anything, you must hate it. And it's like, no dog, I don't hate this shit. But they could have done that better. And I always say this because I don't hate it, because I care. And I wanted them to do that better, because I wanted this to be the best it could be. But people get pissed, they get upset, like you fucking told them their mom was shit or something like that. They're like, why can't you just turn your brain off and enjoy it? Why can't you just enjoy the movie for being a movie? It's just a movie. As if movies or video games or so forth haven't been established as forms of art at this point. Like, why can't you just be a dumbass and pretend like the bad things aren't bad and pretend like everything's good? And he had a great response to that, and it was basically the way I felt about it, but articulated in a much better sense. And at that point I was like, this guy has a YouTube channel that's completely about fucking anime. If this guy that feels pretty much the same way I do about storytelling and the things that should and shouldn't be done still likes anime, maybe I could still like anime too. So I started watching anime, and the first thing I did was I caught the end because Netflix had it. I knew it was one I liked, so I watched the beginning of it long before I found Digibro. But Netflix was missing the last season of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, so I caught the end of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I watched, what is it called? I Don't Understand What My Husband Is Saying, an adorable little show. I watched Bakemonogatari, which I'm currently watching the sequel series that I can't remember the fucking name of, but whatever. I feel like I watched one other series. Oh no, I've watched a couple other series. I watched Gurren Lagann. I watched Kill La Kill. And I love these series. Absolutely love these series. And I realized that I should just watch things I enjoy instead of feeling like I have to watch everything. And so then the question becomes, how do you identify things you enjoy? And then this is not just an anime thing, this is, what do I like? What will cause me to like or not like something? So I had to think and be like, well, what do I not like? What things have I seen in anime that really turn me off to it? And there are things that you probably know deep inside, but it's hard to articulate, you know? So a good example was, all I mentioned there were shows I enjoyed. I tried shows also that I didn't end up enjoying and I stopped watching. And one of them, which was pretty early on, it was actually before I even discovered Digibro. So I made the mistake of going further than I ever should have. So one of the shows was Attack on Titan. And yes, I know, everyone fucking loves Attack on Titan. And people are like, you're a fucking crazy. Attack on Titan is the best shit ever. I fucking don't like Attack on Titan. Deal with it. So I watched episode 1 at one point, and I got like 15 minutes in. You know, I watched the majority of the episode, a little more than halfway through, and I just turned it off. And I was just so done with the show, and it hit me really early on. I was already fatigued from the show because, like, in the first 5 minutes, the main character does a bunch of very common anime shit, which are a large part of why I stopped watching anime, because a lot of the things I don't like are very common in anime. And so, first of all, it was the, I know better than you because I am morally superior character. He was that 100%, because it was this kid talking all this shit to these fucking soldiers. These soldiers who were like risking their lives out there every single fucking day, like trying to investigate Titans, fight the Titans. And this kid behind the fucking walls, these soldiers are defending him like, you didn't do this and that I feel you should do. Fuck you. You're shit. I'm better than all of you. Blah, blah, blah. Like, get the fuck out of here, kid. Like, this guy is clearly going through, like, fucking PTSD. And this little jit that knows shit about the entire fucking world is like, blah, 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 blah. And that's fine from a, oh, that's realistic. Some people are like that standpoint. But the problem is, every time you watch a fucking anime and there's a character like that, this character is always right. This character always has this super hidden knowledge that I know shit you don't know. Even though you don't know shit, you're a 10-year-old living behind walls. These people are defending you. And I'm supposed to believe that you know the shit they don't know. And they should be listening, get the fuck out of here. And then the other thing was his rant was really an exposition dump. And it's going to sound a little vague because obviously exposition is important. You have to get the story out. But I hate exposition dumps. And when I say that, I mean I hate when a character sits there in a show or a movie or whatever and there is nothing going on, there is nothing interesting happening. It's just, I'm going to explain to you for the next 10-15 minutes the story of the world we're living in with nothing else going on here. Fuck that. That is lazy. That is bullshit. That is boring. You should never, ever, ever do that, ever. And another anime that I tried to watch that I hated was Sword Art Online, which I know was also crazy popular. But I watched the first episode, and there's like 20 minutes of this goddamn guy in the air exposition dumping to a bunch of people on the floor who are just staring at him, and nothing's happening, and there's nothing to look at. There's no interesting imagery. There is nothing. Just bullshit for 20 minutes. The key point of storytelling is show, don't tell. And anime is the fucking king of tell, don't show. Like, they don't understand that that's not how you tell a goddamn story. And, like, it's crazy because I think when I was younger, and, you know, I'm a teenager, and I'm like, these things show blood, and fucking titties are out, and all this stuff, and these guys are mature and understand what's with it, and, you know, a lot of this stuff's for teenagers. The Japanese get it. They get, you know, they're so much smarter and culturally superior. And then I got a little bit older, and I got my hate anime phase, and then I started thinking about things like exposition dumps and so forth, like, no, the Japanese are fucking stupid. They're goddamn retards. Like, if you need everything spelled out for you, you must have, like, the intellect of a fucking 5-year-old. And now I'm old enough, and I'm like, yeah, it's just lazy storytelling by, you know, on the hands of these handful of people, because honestly, most anime are made by the same, like, dozen or so animation company, you know, studios and whatever. It's like, it's those people. It's not all of anime, and most of anime is made for a teenage audience. So while, you know, the Japanese may think that it's okay, you know, more okay than the American culture thinks for teenagers to look at blood and guts and titties and shit like that, at the end of the day, it's still built for a teenage audience. And clearly teenage audiences needed it, because when I was fucking 15 years old, you know, exposition dumps didn't bother me. It was, oh my god, anime! Oh, this super intricate plot is so amazing! You know what I mean? But now, I can't handle it. I can't. And I try, because again, it was before I watched Digibro, and I saw another video of his about why having to watch a handful of episodes to tell if a show is good or not is bullshit. And it reminded me exactly of my experience watching Attack on Titan. Because I watched the first episode, didn't even finish it, knew I didn't want to watch it, but I was like, everyone says it's popular, maybe it gets better later, I should watch more of it. And I watched like, 14 episodes or something like that, and I just stopped. Like, they were still in the middle of the fucking fight, where the Titans were pushing into the goddamn place. Like, I think the main character, whatever the fuck, generic, when I was a kid, I knew her better than everybody guy, he had just transformed, you know, they had just shown that he was the one that transformed into the Titan, which was so obvious, but whatever, I mean, things don't have to all be surprises, you know. And he had just transformed into the Titan in front of all the soldiers to save them, and I think I watched like the one episode after that, and I was just like, I am fucking done with this. And I should have listened to myself in episode 1. I knew in episode 1, this show is shit and I don't like it. But I kept watching it. And by the time I watched Sword Art Online, I had already, you know, watched more Digibro, accepted more of the fact that I need to be like, it's okay to not watch this. It's okay to be like, one episode is fucking enough. You know, if it's one episode, it's like, okay, it's alright, maybe I'll give it another shot. And that's what happened to me with a Kisnifer. I don't think Kisnifer is shit. I just didn't care for it. I watched episode 1 and I was like, well, this isn't shit, but I'm not big on it. Let me watch episode 2. I watched episode 2, I was like, I still don't care for it, I'm going to stop. I watched episode 1 of Attack on Titan, was like, this is fucking shit. Watched like a dozen something episodes, and was like, why did I waste my time? So when I watched episode 1 of Sword Art Online, I stopped. I was like, I'm not fucking watching any more of this. I know where this is going. I'm not doing it. So it feels like we got off to a big tangent here, but the point is this all goes back to Dragon Ball Super. And Dragon Ball Super is just really bad. It follows a lot of the trappings of anime. There's a lot of blah, blah, blah. We're going to stand here for like half the episode while we just explain our powers. There's a lot of filler episodes, which why I didn't go into much is something I despise, especially in shonen anime, which Dragon Ball Super is. It's a problem. And actually, it's the main reason why I don't like shonen anime anymore, and I will not watch shonen anime. It's not like I dislike shonen. I will still read shonen manga, and I have been seriously considering dropping Dragon Ball Super from my watch list altogether and starting to download the Dragon Ball Super manga, because I bet I would enjoy it. It doesn't have a lot of the problems that animes have trying to fill the episodes, especially shonen animes. I'm like, you know your series is going to be over 100 episodes long. Dragon Ball Super is already 70-something episodes, and honestly, the content of that could have fit into 4 movies. And they proved it because the first half of the show fit into 2 movies. And I will tell you, as someone who's watched the movies, those movies are better than the first half of the fucking series is. So there's that. And it's just a bad show. But Dragon Ball Z is this nostalgia-rich part of my childhood, and I can't help myself but to see a trailer for Goku and Krillin training together, and even though cognitively here in my mind, I know this episode is probably going to fucking suck, I can't fucking wait for the next episode of Dragon Ball Super, guys. This has been Victor. See you guys next time. Peace.